Okay, so preparing the buttercream. I'm going to use the hand mixer, and I will use a proportion of 1 to 1. So I've got 150 grams of butter, 150 grams of icing sugar, which I've pre-sifted. I know some people will say don't worry about sifting. I would say do it. It just avoids the trouble you might get by just having those little lumps of sugar. If, for example, you're going to decide at one point to pipe with this buttercream, if you've got lumps of sugar, they might block your nozzle. If you want to coat a cake, then when you put the buttercream around the cake, then you might get like marks because you've got those lumps of sugar. So I do intend to sift mine, so it's pre-sifted. So I've got 1 part butter, 1 part sugar. So regardless what quantity you are going to use, just put 1. For example, you want to make a cake and you want that cake to be for like 10 people, which is pretty much about 1 kilogram worth of mix, sponge and buttercream. The proportion should be somewhere in between, I would say 40% cream, 60% sponge. If it's a Victoria sponge, buttercream intends to be quite heavy and greasy, so I wouldn't recommend to go for more than 40%. So if you know that out 1 kilogram of cake, you've got 600 grams of sponge, you have to have 400 grams of buttercream. So then you put 200 grams of butter, 200 grams of sugar, you put a bit of vanilla, and you've got your buttercream for the cake. Okay, so let's start fluffing this butter so it's nice and soft at the room temperature. It will get nicely aerated, and then I will start adding the sugar and the vanilla and just complete the whole thing. The fact that I'm incorporating some air, it will cause the buttercream to turn up lighter and obviously fluffier. Okay, so it just looks nice and light at this point. So what I'm going to do, I will just trying to get this offside. So what I'm going to start doing is I will add the icing sugar. I'll put all the icing sugar in one go. Okay, and then to make sure that I don't get icing sugar everywhere, what I'm going to do, I will pop the whisks inside. Get some cling film. Drill through. Make sure that the cling film goes a little bit below your hooks, the bits which will get attached to, or if you are afraid that that might start spinning your cling film around, just take one of the whisks out, just leave one in. I think it would be safer. Okay, and then you start gently to incorporate. Okay, once the sugar is incorporated, obviously you don't need that cling film anymore, and you can attach the second whisk and then keep beating. What I'm also going to do, I will put some vanilla. Now, if I want to keep the color of my buttercream light, I will have to use a clear vanilla essence, which is, in my case, a Dr. Oetker one. But if you don't mind about seeing some seeds of vanilla, then you can use whatever you've got available. Okay, so that's done. So I'm going just to keep this on one side for later. I can use it as it is to fill a Victoria sponge. I can use this as a base for a cheese frosting. If that's going to be the case, I will just add some soft cheese and just fold in gradually. I can also use it for preparing a patisserie cream. So options are multiple, so it really depends on what you're planning to do with it. If you prefer to store it for longer, what I would suggest is just to transfer in a container, which you can seal properly. Then you can transfer into the fridge and just store it for even up to 2 weeks, to be honest, because there is no water. So the shelf life is quite long. It will depend on whatever shelf life you've got mentioned on the pack of butter you've used for preparing your cream.